Welcome to AskPrep, your trusted companion for UPSC and IAS preparation. Today we will study about a very important topics of Indian economy, which is introduction of the new economic policy or NEP. The new economic policy was a set of policy measures introduced by the Indian government in response to an economic crisis that had gripped the country. This shift marked a profound change in India's economic landscape and led to the country's integration with the global economy. It is crucial for UPSC and IAS aspirants to understand the context, objectives, and outcomes of the new economic policy, as it has significantly shaped the India we see today. To begin, let's set the stage by understanding the economic situation in India before the NEP was introduced. In the late 1980s, India was grappling with a severe economic crisis. The country was facing a balance of payments crisis, where it did not have enough foreign exchange reserves to pay for its imports, including essential goods like oil. This crisis was compounded by an increasing fiscal deficit, rising inflation, and sluggish economic growth. The situation was critical, and India had few options left. At this point, India's policymakers realized that the country's long-standing economic policies, characterized by state control, protectionism, and central planning, were no longer viable in the changing global environment. The world was witnessing a wave of economic liberalization, and many countries were shifting towards market-oriented reforms. India, too, had to adapt to survive and grow in this new global economic order. Thus, the new economic policy of 1991 was born. The primary objective of the new economic policy was to address the immediate economic crisis while simultaneously laying the foundation for sustained growth and development. The government, led by then Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao and Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, initiated a series of bold and sweeping reforms aimed at opening up the economy, reducing state control, and fostering private sector participation. The first major component of the NEP was liberalization. This was a paradigm shift from the earlier policies of self-reliance and import substitution, which had led to inefficiency and stagnation. Liberalization aimed at reducing restrictions on trade, industry, and foreign investment. One of the key steps in this direction was the reduction of import tariffs and the removal of quantitative restrictions on imports. This move helped integrate India into the global market, allowing Indian industries to access better technology, foreign capital, and international markets. In addition to trade liberalization, industrial liberalization was also implemented. The government eased licensing requirements for industries and reduced the scope of the infamous license Raj that had stifled entrepreneurship and innovation. Industries that were previously reserved for the public sector were now opened up to private players. This deregulation allowed businesses to operate more freely, enhancing competition and improving efficiency. The third critical element of the new economic policy was economic stabilization. The government had to take urgent steps to stabilize the economy, which was facing runaway inflation, a burgeoning fiscal deficit, and a foreign exchange crisis. To address these issues, the government devalued the Indian rupee, making exports more competitive in international markets. The government also implemented strict fiscal measures to control inflation and reduce the deficit. One of the key aspects of stabilization was securing loans from international organizations like the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. India's agreement with the IMF in 1991 was crucial in providing the country with a financial safety net during the crisis. In return, India committed to implementing structural reforms that would reduce the role of the state in the economy, open up markets, and improve governance. As a result of the NEP, India saw a dramatic transformation in its economy. The 1990s ushered in a period of robust economic growth. India's GDP growth rate, which had been stagnating at around 3 to 4% per year, surged to 7 to 8% annually by the mid-1990s. The liberalization of trade and industry resulted in increased exports, particularly in sectors like information technology, pharmaceuticals, and textiles. However, despite these positive outcomes, the new economic policy was not without its criticisms. One of the key criticisms was that the benefits of liberalization and economic growth were not evenly distributed. While urban areas and industries benefiting from globalization prospered, rural areas and the agricultural sector did not see the same level of growth. The policy also led to a rise in income inequality, with the rich becoming richer and the poor remaining marginalized. Another criticism was that the shift towards market-oriented policies led to the weakening of the state's role in providing essential public services. The focus on privatization and reducing government intervention in the economy sometimes resulted in the neglect of social welfare programs and the public sector's role in sectors like education, health, and infrastructure. Despite these concerns, the new economic policy laid the foundation for India's economic rise in the 21st century. It allowed India to become a major player in the global economy, spurring growth in sectors like technology, services, and manufacturing. The policy also set the stage for India's integration into global financial markets and its emergence as one of the fastest-growing economies in the world. For UPSC and IAS aspirants, understanding the new economic policy is crucial because it shaped India's economic trajectory over the last few decades. The policy touched upon several areas, including fiscal policy, trade policy, industrial development, and foreign investment, all of which are key topics in the UPSC exam. In conclusion, the new economic policy of 1991 was a transformative set of reforms that shifted India from a closed, protectionist economy to an open, market-oriented one. It focused on liberalization, privatization, and economic stabilization to address the severe economic crisis of the time. Thank you for joining us in this detailed discussion of the new economic policy in India. We hope this video helps you understand the crucial economic reforms that reshaped the nation. Stay tuned to AskPrep for more content tailored to help you ace your UPSC and IAS exams.